Hey guys, this is Igdalia with TheirFightStory. We have a great interview coming up very soon, so make sure to hit the subscribe button so you will be notified when new interviews are coming. Thank you. Hey guys, this is Igdalia, and I'm here with D'Juan Owens, and he's on our show, TheirFightStory. So we are gonna touch base with him and get some information on his background. D'Juan, can you give us a little background on your fight history? I know you've had several fights, and you're also a professional kickboxer, which is new to me.
Well, one, I want to say thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a professional fighter. I reside in North Carolina, but I trained for a good portion of my career in Virginia. So I've trained at a lot of different gyms. I've built like a global family in terms of my training family. But I'm a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. As you said, I'm a professional kickboxer as well. So, I consider myself a well-rounded martial artist. I also like wrestling. It's another big aspect of my game at this point. And, I live this. I love it.
How long have you been, obviously you've been training for a while, but how long have you been training and competing and fighting?
Yeah, it's been about 10 years now. It's coming up on 10 years now. I started, I was amateur for about 9 months. I probably had like 15 amateur fights in a 9-month period. And the crazy thing is,
wow.
when I started fighting, I believe I started fighting amateur maybe 3-4 months after I was training. Like it was different then. It was a different scene then. Compared to like debut amateurs now, I gotta be honest, we were horrible. But the good thing is everybody was horrible, so we didn't know, we were horrible. It's been a consistent grind since then. So coming up on 10 years if I include my amateur career as well.
Wow, and what got you interested in fighting?
Well, when I was young, I joined the Marine Corps. So I was in the Marine Corps when I was 17. And, just being in the barracks, my roommate and I would watch The Ultimate Fighter. This is when The Ultimate Fighter was very popular. And, I always told myself, like, we're going to do this one day.
Yeah.
But, of course, it's just this youthful bravado. We didn't know what we were talking about. Then, I honorably did 4 years, got out, as I started working, without that mandatory PT, I started getting a little chubby, and I'm let me go to an MMA gym. I still got these Mississippi jeans, right? So I went to a gym just to have some fun, just to get in shape. And, one thing kind of led to another. I was training, and then, I started progressing. I started progressing really well. And one of my teammates, who was an amateur fighter, he got hurt before one of his fights, and my coach was like, look, you and Johnny in the same weight class, what do you think about, fighting? I'm like, look, man, this is, I don't know. Anyway, jump right into it.
Yeah.
And I remember, the feeling I had in the cage, it was just incomparable, And I remember the first time I won, it's like, for that moment, everything in my life was right. Just for that moment. And I think like the addiction to feeling that again, is what impelled me to keep going. And then, from then on, it just becomes a lifestyle, a process. So it's a progression.
Yeah. So, how did you after that first fight and everything felt right, you decided, yeah, I'm gonna keep doing this, because you didn't.
Okay. So I was training and I was fighting amateur, and it was just like I said, it was different, right? It was different.
Yeah.
I was training. I was working full time. I already had a family. You know what I mean? I served 4 years in Ringo, so we already had a family. It was just, it's just something that I was doing, but I was working full time. I think I was in school at the time, and I was also doing like armed security.
Okay.
And this was around the time, 2009, 2010, the economy just tanked. So
yeah.
They laid our whole department off. I don't know if I was at Credit Suisse at that point, but either way, they laid our whole, section off. We kind of got furloughed, but they also gave us, a little severance package, but it wasn't something else for last. At that point, I was already an experienced amateur. I was like the number 1 or number 2 amateur in the state, because they had these, little mini rankings and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I got an offer from a promoter to fight, in a professional fight. I'd already had about, 12, 13 amateur fights, and, had a really good amateur record. At that point, I'd already played with the idea of going pro. So anyway, while I'm going pro, now understand when you're amateur, not only are you not making money, not only are you fighting for free, you're essentially losing money, right? Because the time that you spend training, medical stuff, obviously, you know, the capitalist system, your money is your time, so you're losing money. Yeah. And I remember when I fought, you know, the first time I fought, going back, you know, after in the locker room and getting paid, I remember thinking like, yo, shit, this is what I made in damn near work, you know. And I had just been doing this for free, so you know, I'm not saying it was just that, but at the level that I was at, you know, it was that time. So like I said, it was a progression. But even then, after the first fight, you know, I realized like, yo, it's levels to this. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you can't just have your toe dipped in it. Not at this level. So started taking my training more seriously, you know, traveling a little bit more to get the best of, and of course blended the art together. Because at that time, I was more like I prioritized striking, and I used jiu-jitsu for defense, right? So I was kind of like a sprawl and brawl type style. I didn't really, I had horrible wrestling. I didn't like wrestling. And even like jiu-jitsu, it wasn't an aggressive jiu-jitsu. It was just passive, like, oh, let me negate the damage till I can get back on my feet and throw the things. So again, it's been a progression.
Nice. And so what just like triggered you to be like, you know what, I'm gonna go professional?
I think like, you know, so taking that first professional fight, even though I didn't feel like, okay, maybe I'm doing this full time, I just, you know, I took that fight. And then like I said, the winnings, right? The first, you know, compared to how many hours I put into it. And again, it was something I was already doing anyway. And I was fighting at a high amateur level. Like my coach, there was some good and some bad to this, but he always put me in the toughest fights.
Yeah, which is good.
You know, he always had me on the idea, look, fine, take the toughest fights you can, you know. So I was already fighting good guys, right? So the person I fought, my pro debut, my first couple fights, it wasn't any harder than any of my other amateur fights. So, you know, once I saw what I could do, and then of course, you know, being a UFC fan, seeing, you know, what could be. And then, you know, I was young, you know, I was in my early 20s, so I had this kind of, this optimism, right? That I'm like, oh, you know, I'm going to go into UFC and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. You know, when I get this platform, I'm going to be able to speak about this issue and that issue, and it was that kind of thing. So then, like I said, as you start winning, you start, you know, progressing, and it just, you know, once you start stringing them together, and I really, you know, had a real sense of my potential in terms of skill, in terms of and will. I wasn't always in the best position to prioritize the camps. I can see that now in retrospect. Like I said, once I started, I already had a family, you know, but I knew, you know, I had the skill set to compete at the highest level. So, you know, the more I kept fighting on big shows, doing well on big shows, I was like, you know what, I really want to, you know, be serious about this.
That's awesome. Out of all your fights, which one stands out to you, either because you feel you were doing, I don't know, it's like, do you have a particular fight that just really stands out, or that you feel like you could have done better and you didn't, or even if you didn't do as best as you thought, it was still, you still put out your best, you know what I mean? So you have no regrets?
I've got a couple of them, but one, I'll say the best prepared and the best, you know, execution I've had in the fight was, it was in a fight that I lost. It was a very close fight. It was, I fought a guy, Chris McConnelly, last year. He was the #1 fighter in Canada, in all of Canada, and that's outside UFC, of course. And I was on a really good winning streak, and I was really feeling it. I'm like, look, my will, my skill, the shape I'm in, everything in my financial situation, everything is aligned. Everything is aligned. I fought him and, you know, wound up losing in the 5th round, but it was a really good fight. And he went on to win his UFC debut. He took it on late notice. He won that fight. So that's good. You know, obviously, you know, somebody beats you, you know, motherfucker, you better win. Damn it. So, you know, so he did pretty well. And he won a real big bonus. He won like 100 G's, you know, in bonus. So I remember watching this fight, even though I'm happy for him, I remember thinking, hey, you know what I mean? I was just in the cage with this dude less than 2 months ago. And, you know, he took this cat out. So that, you know, that was a big thing. But that was more recent in terms of like something that was very crucial for my development and my belief in myself. I fought my first international fight. I fought a guy, Alexander Pequeno. He was like a Suto champion, Suto legend. Suto was like one of the largest promotions back in the day for smaller weight classes. You know, he had fought Jose Aldo before, so I was like, and I was a baby pro. I might have been like 7-3. He was like 21-9 or something. Anyway, it was a big deal, and I fought him to a draw the first time we fought. I thought I won. You know, you go to another country, you know, if you have a draw, you know how it is. But that did a lot for my confidence, and I realized, like, you know what, I can compete at the highest level. You know, I could really do something. And then one more. There's a lot of fights like that, but there's one more crucial fight that was very, you know, important for me in terms of opportunities and development. It was my first time fighting the UFC vet, Dustin Payne. It was his first fight out of the UFC. He had a couple wins in the UFC. He had lost the UFC. His first fight, you know, these guys, they get out the UFC and then they think like, oh, I'm gonna get a win.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get right back in there. And you know, I was a young gunslinger. He smashed me the first round, but I was in incredible shape. You know, I put that will on him. I put that skill on him. You know, that youthful, you know, vigor, and you know, we wound up finishing him. And that was important for me, for, you know, a lot of people that support me, and you know, that was my first win against a UFC vet. I fought 3 UFC vets, and I beat all of them. I'm 3-0 versus UFC vets, and that, I don't mean like over the hill guys that fought the UFC 10, 20 damn years ago. I'm talking about guys fresh out of the UFC. You know, the first time we met, we fought genetic. Same thing. You know, these guys, you know, because my platform a lot of times is not built off of just sharing all of these fight videos and I do this, I do that. I try to build a platform more off of what kind of community work I'm doing.
Yes.
So some of these guys don't know, but people that train with me, they know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some of these guys found out the hard way, but that Dustin Payne fight was a big one for me, and that Pequeno fight in Peru, that was a big one for me.
Now, you touched base about the things that you do behind the scenes, out of the cage, out of the ring. What is it that you do? You work with a nonprofit, right?
Yeah, I started a nonprofit. I work with a couple of nonprofits, but I started one. One that I really put a lot of effort into is Fighting for Uganda, and we basically, you know, we go to Uganda maybe bi-yearly. Obviously not now, but you know, we just decided to slow down. But we try to get out there as much as possible, and we teach self-defense seminars, primarily to combat gender-based violence and educate people on intimate partner violence. You know, to be honest about it, teaching self-defense techniques, that's cool, but this is really we use it as an incubator to get the conversation started. You know, we want to educate people, and to be clear, it's not that certain places need more education than anywhere. This is a global problem. The only difference is, like in countries like America, where there's more economic surplus, there's more accountability in place. That's the only difference. Because if it wasn't, you would see the same type of stuff going. I mean, it still goes on now,
yes.
Right? You understand? So I always want to be, you know, I know you did that, but I always want to be clear on that as to why. It's just not because of the difference in infrastructure. There's a lot less accountability measures in some places. So I travel to different it's called Fight for Uganda because I go there mostly, but I try to go to as many countries as I can, you know, in Africa and do this work. And I teach self-defense in the States as well. So yeah, and then another group we work with, MMA for Africa. Now this group is organization. I'm on the board. We primarily focus on, you know, spreading MMA in Africa and Hip Hop Chess Federation. Yeah, there's a lot of work. You know, we live the work. I'll put it like that. You know, we try to put good things out into the world.
What inspired you to do that? Like, what was the spark?
Well, you know, I'm a middle child. I've got an older sister and a younger sister, and you know, just being a brother, seeing things my sisters go through, hearing conversations on the phone, just being around. You know, I just, you know, I'm an empath anyway. You know, a lot of people think that's, you know, it's a virtue. It's really, to some degree, it's an Achilles heel. I mean, it really affects me deeply. You know, you understand, when I see things like, if I could just turn it off, I would. You know, it's in some ways. I don't want to, you know, be, you know, pessimistic.
No, it's understandable.
But Yeah, I mean, it's just important. It's important. Let me use another example to explain this one a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I also do a lot of work around justice work and around dismantling different systems of oppression. A lot dealing with like anti-racism work. So I found that in doing this type of work, there were a lot of parallels from a racial perspective to a gender dynamic. You know what I mean?
Yes.
In terms of like power, oppression, internalization of oppressive ideology. And then once I found my place, in how I navigate the world, I said, well, let me use maybe some advantages that I may have to. Hold on one second. Somebody is texting me, but they really need to share because I told them over this live. But once I found that, then I found, okay, if here's some things that I have access to, how can I use this, to be beneficial to things that I want to advocate for? You understand? So in addition to just being a martial artist and actually understanding that the value of martial arts and how they can be used as a liberatory tool, in terms of like sociology and things like that, this is always just something that's very important to me too. So just understanding the different systems of oppression, how to combat that, I really just felt impelled to do something about it, like a mandate. And one more thing, I remember there's I think it's called A&J, one of these like Facebook media joints. A couple of years ago, I saw something that they did in the Congo, and it was about intimate partner violence and sexual abuse against women. And I saw that there were some women teaching themselves self-defense, and it was. I felt two ways about it. I felt like this is an empowering and wonderful thing that they're doing, but it was frustrating that they even had to do it. And to be honest, from a martial arts perspective, it wasn't really, self-defense. It was just, people taking pillows and just practicing punching the pillow. But that spirit of resistance, and just self-determination, it was there. But the people that I had saw, just didn't have the tools, and it just felt. I'm just like, yo, what am I doing, man? I'm just sitting here, using my skills primarily to entertain people. And even though I like being a prize fighter, this is my job. You understand? But in the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of the world, what am I doing besides fighting in the cage for people's entertainment? And this is no disrespect to prize fighting, but there's so much more that could be done with with these skills that I've acquired. In addition to things I've learned in the Marine Corps, things about situational awareness, things about predator psychology, all of these things. So all of these skills were kind of like an amalgamation that were kind of put together and constructed in a way to help alleviate a problem that I kept seeing over and over.
That's so beautiful. That is really, really beautiful. You like gave me chills when you were talking because it's so. People have the ability to help and they don't, and you saw the need. You saw the need and you took it upon yourself to do it. You know what I mean? Like, you were in the Marine Corps, you're a fighter, but you didn't just leave it there. You decided that, I'm going to use everything I've learned. And you went to school. I'm not sure what you went to school for, but I'm sure you took everything and you're using it not only for yourself, but to help others. And your sisters, you have an older and a younger sister that they can respect and love you and be even more proud of you because you put your life on the line. You put it on the line when you were serving. You put it on the line when you get into the ring or the cage. You put it on the line when you're training because it's not easy to train. And then on top of that, you want to make a change in somebody else's life to prevent, violence. And it's beautiful and it's admirable. And
thank you.
I can say thank you on behalf of all the women around the world. Thank you, because you're doing something others don't even think about.
No, I appreciate that. And to be honest with you, there's not to brag, but there's also no need for false modesty. I'm most proud of that work. The work that we've done in creating an international nonprofit with no formal training. I'm very proud of that. More so than anything else. More proud than fighting. You know, my jiu-jitsu ranking, my kickboxing record, my MMA record, even my military experience. I'm much more proud of that. Like I really, really am, because we did, you know, my people that I work with, we hadn't seen anything that addressed it in this way. Like I saw a lot of things out, and I don't want to knock anybody because there's no right and wrong way to do this work. Yeah. But I saw a lot of focus on not a prioritization of preventative measures, right? With prioritizing, okay, after someone has been assaulted, after someone has been brutalized in some way, how can we do this? And don't get it twisted. This is important, but we want to live in a world where this shit doesn't even, you know, it's not
exactly.
Even. Another thing I see, you know, and I don't want to go too off track, but another thing that was very frustrating to me is like what we call gender polarization, right? This idea that all gender studies issues or anything like it are just specifically women's issues. And because they're women's issues and not everyone's issues, women should solely have the burden of dealing with it. Now, some people may look at this and say, like, well, that's because men just don't care. And of course, there may be a segment of men who don't, but men are people. Men, we are socialized to be what we are, no different than women are socialized to be what they are. And one thing I try to tell people, like, there's no innate virtue in someone who is, you know, subjugated a certain way. If they can switch positions for some people, you know, people will be really surprised at what they would see sometimes. Yep. So in addition to a lot of, you know, wanting to impel more men to take initiative, and also not just enough to be a so-called good dude, a good person, but to go out into the world and do good work and hold people who are good accountable, right? On the flip side of that, for women who are about this, to encourage and push and motivate the men in their life to actively get involved with this. And like, you know, I remember one time I was on a speaking engagement, and I'll tell you, you know, there was a woman, you know, PhD in some field of gender studies. I don't know what it was specifically, but she felt that men were colonizing or taking over the GBV, IPV kind of academia, which is ridiculous, right? But then instead of being frustrated at her, I had to realize, like, you know what? There's some people who their damn livelihood is tied up in a problem existing, so they can fight the problem, right? And it's just it gets real deep, it gets real messy. But yeah, we need to tighten up as a society.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to fight for the problem. What it's not okay is creating a problem. Sometimes it doesn't exist. But some people are too caught up trying to prove their point that they'll cause a situation. So then they're able to find or put the solution. But it's like, wait a minute.
Or it's like, the solution isn't the prioritization. You being the one saying what the solution is what priority. You see a lot of, like, let me just tell you, with some nonprofit work, it's real messy. You see some very, you know, and I don't want to just wholesale write everybody off, but, you know, this is why I don't get involved in, like, very big, unless I know somebody specifically or personally that's like, look, I work with this organization, we do good work. I'm not donating my time, my money, and for anybody else who is about, you know, supporting any, you know, organization, do some research. You know, do some research and see if there's any local grassroots initiatives. But, you know, not that there's some innate, you know, negativity in larger organizations, but the larger something is, the harder it is to be transparent, the harder it is to hold people accountable, and a lot more, to be honest with you, just money can just be mismanaged. You know, we've seen that in so many ways.
Wow. No. What did you go to school for?
So I was going to school. I was making K-12 education. You know, I wanted to early childhood education. Well, I wanted to teach initially. You know, I wanted to. At one point in my life, I wanted to teach. You know, to be honest with you, it wasn't until very, very recently, like the past 2 years, that I realized, like, oh, you know what? It's probably, yeah, I got to find another way to fill this void, because I started subbing for a little while. I was a substitute teacher, and I'll tell you this: before I started subbing, there's nothing that anyone could have told me that would deter me from teaching. It wasn't the money, it wasn't the stress, it wasn't nothing, because I'm like, okay, I know how important it is, not only for teachers, but for male teachers, and specifically for black male teachers, which are like 2% of the teacher workforce. It's embarrassing. That's another subject. Don't get me started. But how important it was, right? So it was nothing no one could tell me until I actually started subbing. Yeah. And it was like, oh, this is not, and again, it's not the students. Yeah. It's not the students at all. It's the structure. It's the, that's another, don't get me started with and that's another subject, but it's bad. And not only is it bad, there's just not enough things in place, especially in certain places. A lot of times, we all learned about with the civil rights generation and integration and separate but unequal. Yeah, it's the same thing now, but it's just based. It's by area code, right? This school is going to get this much funding because there's more surplus income here, and there's a direct correlation to the type of opportunities that children have in their life. Yeah. The school that my children go to now, as opposed to schools right down the street, and these are public schools as well. The schools they go to, they'll go to a science fair, in some place, a nanotechnology fair. They'll have, biochemists and all kind of people. The school down the street, they'll go to the lighthouse. You know what I mean? So it's not just the places they go, but the social networks that they're creating. So it's so much to this. It's real messy. Right? Let me get back to fighting, because I don't get me started.
But you went to school for early childhood education, right?
Yeah.
You learned so much that in order for you to help these people in lower communities and people who are suffering, who don't have all the education, you need those things that you've learned, because you have to lower, you need to have a different mindset. Yeah. So all of this that you've learned in school is actually something that you could actually use when you teach your self-defense classes to these women that don't know.
100%.
You know what I mean? So you actually are using all your tools. You're not, so nothing's going to waste.
100%. So one thing I try to tell people, it's your education. Education is it's a process, right? Mm-hmm. If we talk about school, and not knocking school, but school just, it's a curriculum, a developed system of thinking that's going to lead you toward a certain place, and that's cool. But we got to get a lot of education outside of it, because what I found, and this is just my, this is just my account, it's just my life specifically. Still a black man in America, so the way I navigate the world it's not going to be the same as how everyone else navigates the world and how people see me. So what I found in these institutions of higher education or certain places is this idea that if you are someone who's like me, who's doing this work, you're exceptional. You're different, right? You're the you gotta kind of take this Faustian bargain where this class consciousness comes in, where it's like you're different. So you get held up as an example of what more people like you should be. And it's a very dangerous game that a lot of people play as they're trying to kind of rise through the ranks of society and so-called class. As they climb the social rungs, people will find that, in certain places you have to minimize certain aspects of yourself that truly are your identity. You've got to shrink certain aspects of yourself. And I don't just mean that figuratively, I mean that literally too. You understand? Yeah. That, you can't, your hair, which you understand hair, especially black hair, is very political. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Your posture, your tone, how you pronounce things. So I'm just at a point in my life where, I'm not changing nothing. You know what I mean? What's understood don't got to be explained. If somebody's down here and I'm speaking on something, then you got to get hip. You got to get educated. Yes. And then if you think you're here and I'm saying something, on a slang tip, then you got to get hip, right? Because that's just as legitimate as any other language, right? Because the value of language it just means it's communicating. No one has the ability to say what's legitimate and what's not. So just get comfortable in expressing myself in that way, and I've actually found that helps me communicate to to people,
Yes.
regardless of what demographic or I'm speaking to. Right? I found that that's been very helpful.
Yeah. As far as slang, I'm the worst. I don't understand it. My husband will say something, and I'm like, "What does that mean?" And they're like, "It means yes." Well, why don't you say yes? Because I'm confused. Like,
it's a balance, right? Like somebody,
I don't know it.
I'm my age. You understand? I'm in my 30s, so I'm not gonna go relearn. You know what I mean? Some stuff that these young folks saying every day is something. Oh, this is the drink. Well, I'm getting the bag. Like, okay, whatever. You know what I mean?
I'm like, I don't know.
But I don't have a problem with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's not my thing. I don't have a problem with it. Because everybody, every generation has their thing. And people just gotta respect.
Yes.
Where young folk are or in their level of progression.
Yes.
Remember how we were.
I don't want to remember.
Well, there's a difference in not wanting to remember and some folks not to, but some folks who hold young folks to a standard that good and well we wasn't that.
You can't.
We wasn't doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we can't. We're all different, and to put that on them, it's not fair. Just like even in training, like, okay, for instance, your coach, right? When you did your first MMA fight, he, your what is it, like your teammate was gonna fight. He wasn't able to, but they asked you, because they knew your potential. They knew what you were capable of, right? So to have, to put the pressure on somebody else that wasn't you, like, okay, you got to step it up. Now you really got to change your game. You really got to know, because that other person can't do it. They can't handle it, but you can. So, and like your record doesn't really, like I tell people, don't go by records, because it doesn't really say anything about the fighter itself, because look at a record and you see numbers. Why don't you look at the list of the fighters that this person has fought? And that's when you can determine, wait a minute, wow, this person fought this guy and he fought this guy. Right. Yeah, no, these are all tough dudes. So you're sharpening yourself.
Look at the fights and also look at when in the person's development they fought, right? Like, let's say somebody beats Anderson Silva next week. No disrespect, but that's not the same as beating Anderson Silva 10 years ago.
Exactly,
You know what I'm saying? There's people that beat me early in my career that I would destroy them now. They wouldn't even fight me now. But I was 3-1 or 3-2 fighting them when they were 10-5.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a big difference, and it depends on what people want to do. Like I've never been a person who wants to sneak in the UFC or sneak into any organization through the back door. I want to creep in there. But once you get in there, you're going to find out what it is anyway.
Yes.
You hear a lot of young fighters, I want to do this, I want to get the UFC. No, you don't. You think you do.
Yeah.
There's levels to this. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I know in my weight class, there's not a person on the planet that I can get in the cage with that's going to do anything to me that I can't defend myself or I can't, this is not going to happen. I don't care who it is.
Yeah.
Maybe not be. Right? Don't be like, hey, D'Juan, I set this up for you. But there's a lot of people, I'm telling you, and the thing is, there's a balance because people shouldn't do it the way I do. It's different now. Like now, you got to have these sexy records. You got to, because the grooming process is more, it's more paramount. Like in boxing, it was that way, right? Boxing, if you don't get to 20-0, then it don't matter. Like you're not even, you get to 20-0 and you lose a fight. So you're 20-1. They're like, oh man, he really had a lot of potential. He really could have been something. Yeah. That's it.
Back to the beginning.
It didn't used to be like that. It used to be about getting a streak and you was like, you win. But now, because of just the globalization of UFC and the marketing and product is more of a, and I don't have a problem with that. So for young fighters, for sure, don't go the hard route. Don't but at the same time, make sure while you're building these fights, building your record, your skill matches.
Yes.
Make sure your skill matches your record because there's some goofiness out here. There's some garbage. Even at the highest level, sometimes I'll see stuff. I'm like, this is absolutely ridiculous.
What would you change? What would you change as far as your
management? Yeah, I wouldn't have management. I didn't have any management, early in my career, and I was just a young guy who, wanted to, and when I say young in the sport, and they also I was also in North Carolina, so there wasn't a promotion here. Like matter of fact, I'll give you an example, and this is relevant because we met in Boston,
yes.
right? So Joe Giannetti, I think he was 8-1, 9-1, I don't know, but had like a lot of finishes. He fought the UFC. So on paper, to people there, they thought I was an underdog, right? People where I'm from, like Nadia said, I wasn't surprised. I mean, listen, I mean this not, it don't sound disrespectful, but I don't mean disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the easiest fights I had in years. Why? Because he had 9 fights. Yes, he was 8-1, but that's 9 fights. There are people who are 4-5 or 5-4 that are way harder fights. And I'm not saying that that's right, but there's a difference. Like, if this guy's 5-4, then shit, I know he's not taking easy fights because he fought 4 people that he thought he could beat that he couldn't. You know what I'm saying? So, but Giannetti did it right. But the reason I bring that up is because, like, that's the way you should do it. He fought for the same promotion every fight outside of the UFC. And that would be wonderful. But but he lived in a place that had a promotion. So props to Cave Titans. Props to promotion for like CS. I live in North Carolina. Not only was there not 10 years ago, there's no promotion now that is the #1 promotion in North Carolina. There is no field. So my first 10 fights, I sit you now, my first 10 fights, I fought in the main event or co-main event, mostly the main event, against somebody else in their backyard. Because I didn't have a choice to get a fight. And I won 7 out of those 10 first fights. And on paper, I was an underdog. And not one of those jokers had a record that was like less fights than mine. Not one. And that ain't the way to do it. That's not the way to do it, because there's still violence, there's still time, there's still like a lot of times you're traveling in real janky situations. It's just real. You're going to the damn sauna and crazy. It's not cool. I came up the hard route. So I wouldn't do that. And then I'm taking fights. I'm taking hard fights back to back. I've lost 2 fights in a row, have my back against the wall, and then taking a hard fight. That ain't the way to do it. But it worked out sometimes for me, But that ain't what I would say. Matter of fact, the first fight that I had last year, before we beat Giannetti, we beat this other guy, Sabo Kadai, in Canada. This is an international fight. We took the fight on 2.5 weeks notice, 2 weeks notice. International fight, main event, president of the promotion. This dude was 12-5. Right? I hadn't fought in a year. I was frustrated. Went back to school because I was like, man, fuck this shit. I'm going to school. I'm done with it, man. Started listening. They called me, and I know what they thinking. Like, oh man, this dude, he got it. He's fought some good guys. He got decent record, but he lost his last fight at 40 years. But again, my people I train with, they know. Because we seen good people come to the gym. Listen, I ain't putting no names out there, but I've been to these camps. I fought you, AKA. I fought you ACT. So I know what I can do. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we went there, beat the guy, split decision, sit in the window there, split decision. But this is his backyard, president of promotion. That's the type of stuff that, in retrospect, I did it, but that's not the type of stuff you do, Tim. That ain't the way you get. If your goal is to ultimately just get to the big show, let me be clear.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with my body and work. I fought internationally 7 times. There's people in the UFC who ain't never fought internationally 1 time. I've been in the position to see some real fly shit. I've done some real cool stuff on other people's dime. I fought in Russia. I fought in Peru. You know what I mean? I fought in Brazil. I fought in Canada. Had the carpet rolled out for me. Because, international people, they treat MMA fighters like real athletes. Not like in this, disrespect, yeah. Not like in this country where, you're a professional athlete for all intents and purposes. But unless you're in the UFC or like a certain, certain class at Bellator, it's not treated like that. Other countries, please, man. So I've been real fortunate. So I don't want to just base the value of it off of, get to the UFC. But for people who are going to commit their life to it, you do need to try, should try to get to the biggest stage because that's where the most money is. And it's not just about the money, but if you're going to put your damn life on the line, then get your damn paper.
Yeah.
Pick smart fights. That was a long way of saying pick smart fights.
But you got to the point. So you've had several fights that were international. You've had your fight camps. How does that affect you fighting when you're going international and now you have that mental strain? Now there might be a language barrier. There's so many different aspects of traveling international. Not only, I mean, what toll does it have on your body mentally, physically, emotionally, and then on your family as well, because it's added.
Again, I'll say it again and again, not to keep harping on him, but Jheri's just a perfect example of what a perfect situation is. You know, fighting for the same promotion, all your amateur career, all your pro career, you know when you're gonna have a fight. There's no late notice shit. The promotion knows who they're bringing in to fight you. Mm-hmm. Your camp knows. I mean, that's a beautiful thing, man. That's a beautiful thing, you know. But in terms of fighting internationally, where there's a language barrier, even Boston, there ain't no language barrier. But come on, man, you know, you live up there, so you know how Boston is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It was, and you know me. I'm not. Let me just put it like this: I'm not a fighter who happens to be black. You know, I'm blacker than the ace of spades, and I wear it. So they know. So when I'm coming, they know what energy I use. You know, I'm proud of that. You know, you understand?
Of course.
Like,
wait, what was it? The culture?
Yes, indeed. Because the thing is that because we know there's constantly everything is political. There's a propaganda campaign against black men. You know, 24/7. So I know when I walk, when I talk, how I treat people, how I speak, what I do. In my mind, you know, I'm a walking counter propaganda campaign. You understand? Mm-hmm. So when I go somewhere, I'm not tripping on how people are initially. Because I know if they're fans of MMA, they're gonna be a fan of mine in the fight. Yeah. Because I'm gonna fight. You know what I mean? I you know, I'm not out there bullshitting. You know, I'm trying to exude martial arts. I'm trying to put on a show. And I'm respectful. You know, but at the same time, I'm telling the truth. I'm not out here with some false modesty. If something's bullshit, I'm gonna say it's bullshit. You know. If something is, you know, so it's cool. But in terms of like how I feel mentally, you know, going into the belly of the beast, I'm a Marine. You know, once a Marine, always a Marine. I don't care about that stuff. You know, yeah. I'm like, you know, people saying crazy stuff to me, you know, that means nothing. Because it's another thing. I also know, you know, there's you know, with anonymity, there's a boldness. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I know who I am. And they know who I am, too. And they know what it is. So, like I said, I don't trip on that. Probably example, when we went, and that, you know, the Jheri fight, there was an after party. Now, I know everything everybody was saying when I was in the cage, when I was walking to the cage. I remember at the after party, everybody was my friend. Everybody was happy, but I'm right in front of you now. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm in front of you now. Now you want a picture. Now you want the girl to take a picture with me. I don't trip. I don't think that's just cool. But if you know, so I don't, you know, I don't trip on it. I don't trip on it.
Yeah. Was your family there at your fight?
No, that was a little too far. But I do let my girls come to the fights. You know, they love it. I mean, they know Daddy knows how to defend himself. You know what I mean? So they love it. You know, if anything, sometimes I gotta, you know, my wife actually banned my oldest daughter for coming to fight for a little while because I had a tough fight one time, and my oldest is she's 14 now, but at this time, yeah, I know, you know, we was young. Leave it at that, we were young. So, but no, but seriously, she was wilding, and you know, kids won't play that like kids, you know, cursing and no crazy stuff like that. But my oldest daughter was like, you know, so I ain't gonna beat in the case. My wife was like, wait, what? So yeah, they get a little too riled up. So depending on what it is, you know, you kind of put them on ice for a little while. But no, you know, they know. That's awesome. They love it.
That is awesome. Is there before we wrap up, is there anything that you want people to know about you that they don't know, or some advice to the young and upping fighters, or up and coming women, or even young men that just want to have self-defense or learn something?
Yeah, so at this point in my life, to be honest, the self-defense aspect is a little more important to me. You know, I only have but so much time. Yeah. Physically, you know, I'm fine, I'm perfect. You know, I became an athlete late, so I don't have the mileage know me, but just other aspects of my life that really demand my time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? MMA is something that I'll probably get a couple more in, get some nice big wins in there right up into the sunset. But I want to spend this time, for the majority of people watching is probably going to be fighters. I want to spend this time to say something to the upcoming fighters like, look, prioritize your training. You know, prioritize your training. Don't just train when you have a fight coming up.
Yes.
You know, train all the time. Listen to your body. Don't go crazy with the sparring. You know, if you can hit somebody soft, I mean, if you can hit somebody hard, you get them soft. Like, you don't need to hit them hard to know that you can. Don't just, you know, and challenge yourself. You know, challenge yourself. Like, be well-rounded. Don't just, you know, don't depend on whatever skills you're dominating people with, because when that's not there, trust me, there's going to be somebody you can do. You're going to have to go to your other tools. Don't listen to what people talk about, like, you know, when people get into this gym warring and all that silliness. Like, prioritize your development, stay loyal, stay true, but at the same time, don't you know, hinder your development, because there's a lot of times, let me put it like this, there's some people who want to prioritize being able to say they made you than actually you developing as a martial artist.
Yes.
And lastly, I'll say, understand martial arts for what it is. You know, it's a tool. And for anybody who's about justice, which should be everybody listening, you know, find a way to use it as a liberatory tool that it is. And just know there's much more to martial arts than simply fighting. And you know, yeah, you know, that's about it on the fight tip. And get management. You know, get find some good management. And if you don't want to take a fight, don't take a damn fight. I've never said no to a fight, and that's bad. No, I have once last year, but that's a problem. That I had been a pro for like 8 years at that time. I never said no, because every fight I had, I wasn't always in the perfect position physically, and definitely with stuff going on outside of my life, and some of that stuff I can't take back. You know what I mean? So I don't want you all to have that type of regret. You know, it's a lot more than talent. It takes a lot more than talent to you know, compete and win at the highest level. And even if you have talent, it takes a lot of other stuff too. You understand? So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Do you want to share any of your social media tags or?
Yeah, if anybody, I'm usually not as active on. I've been trying to be more active on Instagram lately. You know, my friends are always on me about like the past year, but I'm on Facebook as well. It's just D'Juan. On Facebook, it's D'Juan Owens, D'Juan Owens, and on Instagram, it's D'Juan, and I think like 3 or 4 underscore DJUAN. But you know, yeah.
And what about your nonprofits? Anything? Any pages that they have?
So what I'm fighting for Uganda, I'll go ahead and tell you all that. I'm still doing it, but I'm doing it on a grassroots level now. So I do projects when I'm about to go. So it's not something that's just, because whenever you prioritize something when there's not actually work being done, to me it takes the legitimacy of it. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
Like I never want to be in a. I don't want to be a part of the non-profit industrial complex. If that makes any sense, because that is a money grab like a lot of other things. I've been very naive.
Unfortunately.
Of course. But yeah. If you follow me on Instagram and on Facebook, when I got something coming up, I will raise public support. But I do it when something's coming up, not just in general, just for the sake of doing it. Because that is not, I make sure that my livelihood is not tied up into doing the work. Because when it is, that's when the work gets compromised, right? Not for myself, but for what I've seen.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I know you're busy.
Thank you.
I know you have a lot going on, and it's appreciated. Thank you very much.
Yes, indeed. Good luck. You got a supporter, you got a follower, you got a fan. I'll be following the shows, and you know, I'm always here. Just reach out whenever you need me. Much love and respect.
Thank you. God bless you, and the love to the family.
Yep. Take care.
Thank you so much for staying till the end of this video to watch and listen to the words that this fighter had for us. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, feel free to like, share, subscribe, and get the word out, because each and everybody has a story, and that's what we want to make sure that people are able to hear is their story.